You said it was normal for this man and your daughter to sleep together without you being there. I have a personal issue with this mother in this situation.
And y'all know why now.
You failed her. You failed her. And I don't know if it's because you were never taught, so you didn't know what to look out for, or what. But you failed her as her mother. You did not keep your baby safe. You were not involved with your daughter as much as you should have been. You were not asking questions, and there was not a cause for concern that you felt you need to pay more attention to your daughter. You failed her. And now I'm ready to do my reading on you and Mr. Stefan, because you failed her. And if this is your thought process as a mother, I'm sure you got a rude fucking awakening coming. I'm sure you do. Because your life is not about to get easy after this. At all. At all. I'm ready to do my reading now. I ain't gonna even cover this story no more. I'm ready to do my reading.
That I did do. And if y'all go look at my reading, I'm just saying, Jenn, girl, Nah, I need to find, because I'm trying to get to something specific here. I need to find, like,
okay, because I need to figure out what the hell going on here with this person. So I'm going to give my opinions about what I noticed about Stephen Stearns, actually, about Miss Madeline. This is her. I feel like the mom should be in just as much trouble as the dad. Or excuse me, the boyfriend. Because this man is who the police is interviewing. He is the boyfriend of the mother, not the father. He's not the father of Madeline. He's the boyfriend of the mother. Now, hold the hell on. He said he was getting ready to take this little girl to McDonald's. But on the way to McDonald's, she decides she don't want McDonald's. I don't know no child that don't want McDonald's. What child don't want McDonald's? I'm confused. But you know, hey, to each his own. But it's interesting how you got up early to go to McDonald's, but then on the way to McDonald's, she doesn't want to go to McDonald's. That's interesting. Interesting. Because we don't need to know certain things. It just doesn't. Why do we need to know this? You're going into, and it's interesting because he's going into detail about the context behind his account, but he's not going into context about the things that matter.
That is strategically done.
The things that we actually care about. He's doing too much explaining about his account, i.e. the answers he's giving, the responses he's giving. He feels the need to put them into context as he's explaining them. Why? Because I think what he's trying to do is seem credible. So what she could have did in the car, she got out. She didn't do it until she got out the car. He's making reference to this backpack because he noticed her rummaging through it. There's a significance to this backpack. I'm telling you, there's a significance to this backpack. I don't understand why he feels the need to throw that out there.
What's interesting is when I said that there was a significance to the backpack, This is before the police, or this was before we knew what the police found in the trash can at Jenn Soto's residence, the apartment complex where she lived, or the complex where she lived. They found in the garbage, because remember, there was surveillance of Stefan throwing something into the garbage, and they found Madeline's backpack in there. I told y'all, I said there's a significance to this backpack, and look what happened. Because he says, after she's rummaging through her backpack, that he believes she's probably looking for some headphones or something like that, but finds out later that she forgot her phone here. I'm assuming here is either in the car or at home. So when Jenn Soto was speaking to the detective that was recording her, she told that detective that Stefan Stearns called her around 10:18 that morning, when Jenn Soto would have been at her doctor's appointment, right? And part of that conversation, Stefan told Jenn that he left his phone at the house. She didn't tell the police that Stefan told her Madeline left her phone at the house. According to Jenn didn't mention anything about Stefan saying anything about Madeline leaving her phone. But Stefan tells the police that when Maddie was going through her book bag, this is when he finds out that she left her phone at home. This would also explain let me say it like this. I'm not going to say this would explain, but what I'm going to say is Stefan Stearns brings up that Madeline left her phone at the house. Jenn Soto never mentions to the police officer when she was being recorded that on the day she went to pick up Madeline, she never mentions whether or not she called Maddie's phone. Is that not significant to anyone? Because we heard what Jenn told the police. All her searching and probing people for where Maddie may be and stuff like that. Not one time did Jenn Soto mention calling Maddie's phone. Not one time did Jenn Soto mention to the police that Madeline left her phone in the house. Jenn only told us about Stefan letting her know that he left his phone at the house. Because remember, Jenn had been calling Stefan's phone, she said, all morning. And Stefan never answered. Stefan calls back hours later when Jenn is at her doctor's appointment to tell her that he left his phone at the house. Nobody said anything about Madeline's phone. She forgot her phone. I mean, let me tell you something about a teenager. Their phones stay glued to their hand. If their phones are not in their hands when they leave that house, you best believe they're not leaving that house. That part. Wherever the last place they remember having that phone, they trust me. They're not leaving without it. So I don't believe that about she forgot her phone. You mean to tell me on the drive to McDonald's, she didn't have a phone in her hand? She didn't even notice her phone was missing? This is not teenage behavior. Not the teenagers I know. Now we know. Because like I said, I put this video out before they found the evidence in the trash can. And before they let us know about the surveillance video of Stefan having a female in his car going back towards the house at a time where he said he was on the way to school to take Madeline to school in the opposite direction. Hmm. Hmm. He was visiting some card shops in the area around 192. He knows he has to reference 192. Witness that saw his car on that highway. So he knows that he has to, in order to validate his credibility, so to speak, he has to make sure that he covers the basis. What can be proven. I'm kind of a nerd, so we had a new trading card game. Why are we talking about that? So he got a flat tire also on 192. Interesting. The female officer is like, okay, did you guys go anywhere that night? And he eventually answers the question because there's some miscellaneous stuff that was said and I couldn't make it out. But eventually he says he didn't recall. And that's where we at now, where he's answering the officer about whether or not they went anywhere that night. He said he didn't recall. He was so zonked out on Ativan. At that point, he was a wreck. Keep in mind that he's throwing out there that he may not have been in his right mind, or he may have a reason to not remember everything because he was on medication. That is exactly what he's doing here. Whether anybody understands that or not, you know. But what I see, and in my opinion, or what I hear this man is doing is he's doing something called or he's making a case for plausible deniability here, where he's throwing out possibilities, but those possibilities make it difficult for you to hold him accountable. It's difficult to pinpoint him, or it's difficult to say he knew, or he intentionally did, or he knew, he was aware. He's making it difficult for you to do that because this is what happens when you feign ignorance, and then you put it out there that you're on medication. So he just said that he was on some medication called Ativan. So now he's talking to a male interviewer. He said he don't recall us. This is his words. I don't recall us going anywhere last night. But honestly, at that point, my brain was mush. And I was on so many tranquilizers to keep me stable. So he's throwing it out there that, or he wants you to pay attention to him having drugs in the system and his brain being mush. I'm going to go ahead and say this. I also believe that the reason why he was throwing it out there that he was incoherent or incapacitated during this time is because this would have been during the time that I believe he was doing what he shouldn't have been doing. And I believe that this is an attempt for him to distance himself from that time frame. When he's talking about his brain is mush and he's on this medicine and all this other shit, I think this is his attempt to distance himself from the situation. I'm assuming that being mush means that he was incoherent. That's the only way that I can take that. Given the context of what he's saying, what he's talking about in this situation. But he's putting that out there for a reason. Remember, a lot of these types of people tend to be very strategic and methodical in their ways of thinking. They're very strategic and methodical. So they could very, very well intentionally be feigning ignorance with you as a means to an end. And that's all I'm gonna say. That's what I'm gonna say about that. Get this. I want to get this. Listen to what I'm saying, y'all. If somebody is telling the truth, it's going to show on the outside. Just like if somebody's telling a lie, it is going to show on the outside. These strategic and methodical type people know that tangible evidence is the best evidence to be found guilty or to be proven guilty. So these types of people are going to try and cover all of those possible scenarios by making sure you have the least amount of tangible evidence to use against them. And or they're going to be thinking about what to tell anyone who has questions about things that they have done or could possibly have been involved in that could harm their status or harm their reputation or cause inconvenience to their situation. They're going to think about those things and they're going to try to cover the tracks for those. But in terms of this person right here, he has just been caught up by the police and the rest of his day. Now, the times he gave of being with Miss Madeline was between I'm about to say 07:15. Was from 7:15 in the morning to around 8:20 something in the morning. So during this time, this is the time frame he gave for being with Miss Madeline prior to him dropping her off. But the camera or surveillance is showing. And the other thing is, Mr. Stern said after he dropped Miss Madeline off, he went to the vape shop, but the vape shop wasn't open. So he left there and he came back around 9 something. It was 9 something, like 9 something or 10. He said that he went back to the vape shop. Okay, so he's providing them with a timeline now, but now they're about to get him because the way he was describing his traveling, he was making it seem like he was going in one direction. And then police did the tracking and put it all together of what he said he was doing and where he was at. And on the map, it shows that he was going in the opposite direction. And he was caught going in the opposite direction at the time that he had Madeline in the car. The reason why I have such difficulty with this in terms of Jenn, or in reference to Jenn Soto, is because Madeline was in the car, even according to Stefan. Madeline was in the car because Madeline wanted to be dropped off early. Okay. So Madeline was in the car at 8 something. When Jenn said that Stefan Stearns came into her room around 8, between 8 and 8:15, is what she said. Then how can Jenn have heard or saw, because she gave both accounts? How could she overhear who she thinks is Madeline, or how can she see Madeline getting ready for school? If Stefan is saying Madeline would have been in the car at that time. So Madeline's in the car and Stefan comes back in the house, goes into Jen's room to leash the dog, to go walk him. But Jenn hears Madeline, or who she thinks is Madeline, getting ready, or seeing Madeline getting ready at this time. Something's not right. Something is not right. So you going in the opposite direction of where you're supposed to be going with Miss Madeline in the car? Why is that? And so the officer is about to show Mr. Stearns where his vehicle was spotted at. He's about to show him that surveillance. So So he's showing them McDonald's. And he's over and he says at 8:10, your car is seen going southbound at this intersection. So Mr. Stearns is saying that he had forgotten his gate clicker. I'm sorry, I forgot. I had gone back to the house real quick. He's already put it out there that, he's on medication. He's already put that out there. So it sets the stage for when he was operating coherently or not coherently. It's bringing awareness to him possibly not remembering. Okay, he's trying to tie this shit. Excuse my language. He's trying to tie this stuff together. See, it's all about what you say, what is recorded, and what can be. Okay, if you left the house at that time, but the surveillance has your car going back in the direction of your house, around 8:10.
That was BS. That was BS. So there's an inconsistency here with Stefan's story and Jenn's story. There's inconsistency here, but the reason why I'm doing this video is because of Jenn. It's because of her. It's because of her. Like, nah. Hold on a minute, y'all.
The Danishes that I had given her.
So you're going up here now, still northbound on Jongyang Parkway.
Mm-hmm.
You make a left at Town Center this time.
Town Center, then make a right onto, yes.
And then you drop her off around like...
Dropped her off around halfway up the road there.
Okay. So keep in mind, all of this is still northbound.
Okay.
Right? You're still northbound on Jongyang Parkway.
Northbound.
So why is your car seen going southbound at 8:10? I'll show you what location it is. McDonald's is over here.
Mm-hmm.
At 8:10, your car is seen going southbound at this intersection. So meaning going toward Kissimmee.
Mm-hmm. I had forgotten something. I had forgotten my gate clicker. I'm sorry. I forgot. I had gone back to the house real quick after we left because I forgot my gate clicker.
All right. So I want y'all to think about this. After Stefan got caught up in his lie, he tried to say that he had to go back to the house. He forgot that he had to go back to the house for his gate clicker.
I actually had to go through the front gate and use my parking pass to grab my clicker. So it was the wrong time. I'm sorry. Like I said, I was guesstimating these times. I'm not a morning person.
No. I think that he's lying. That's what I think.
Fifth, 11 p.m. This is the night of her birthday party. Jenn, her mom, sends Stefan, her boyfriend, and Madeline, her 13-year-old daughter, out of the room into a bed by themselves. No, I'm not making this up. That's what she literally did. Madeline's mother sends her 13-year-old daughter and her boyfriend off to be together in another room in bed because she was tired. She had worked. February 26th, the next morning, this is when 7 to 7:15, Stearns claims that he and Madeline wake up. 7:30 to 7:45, Stefan Stearns claims they leave the house.
You see how these times keep changing? You see how these times keep changing?
However, At 7:35 a.m., Stearns is spotted at the apartment trash compactor throwing a white bag away. Madeline is visible in the front seat with her head slightly tilted.
Okay. Now, given this timeline right here, let's go back to what I said earlier. Stefan told the police that him and Maddie left for school between 7 and 7:15. That's what he said. Then the time changed. Time changed. That he went to go take her to school between 7:15 and 7:30. Okay, because he said between 7 and 7:15. At first, he said between 7 and 7:15, he left to go take her to school. Then it was 7:15 to 7:30. He leaves to go take her to school. So you're on your way to take her to school at least around 7:30. You're on your way to take her to school. So how is it if it takes 20 to 25 minutes to get from Jenn Soto's home to Madeline's school? That's what Jenn said. It would have been close to 8 o'clock by the time Stefan would have got to school with Madeline. So how is it that he's seen coming back at 8:10? That's cutting it a little close. He's on his way going back to the house at 8:10. He would have just been arriving, according to Jenn Soto's time frame. He would have just been arriving around Madeline's school. But remember, Stefan said they were going to go to McDonald's. But then he also said that in the car, Madeline decided that she didn't want McDonald's. She said that she wanted to sleep. How interesting that at 7:35, Stefan is spotted throwing something in the trash at the apartment complex where they live. So you wasn't even on the road at 7:35. Not if the cameras caught you at around that time throwing something in the trash. You wasn't on your way to take her to school yet. You were still in the apartment. Or around the apartment complex at the trash, throwing something away. At 7:35. So how are you on your way to take her? Okay, we ain't talking about Stefan because we already know he's guilty. I'm trying to keep the focus on Jenn. That's what I'm trying to keep the focus on. Oh.
That bag that's being tossed, that's her backpack and her laptop. 7:50 a.m. Stearns is spotted driving away with Madeline fully slumped over in the car. 8 to 8:15 a.m. Jenn claims she is woken up by Stearns getting a dog leash.
Now, could this be a situation where Jenn is supposedly woken up around this time because Stefan is coming back into the house from having put Maddie out in the car? And I'm going to say it like that. I saying that this was, saying that Stefan would have dropped her off kind of makes me feel weird given what we know now. So I don't want to say that. So between 8 and 8:15, Jenn claims she is woken up by Stefan coming into the room, getting the dog leash. Between 8 and 8:15.
She also reports hearing someone in the kitchen, but doesn't know if it was Madeline. 8:19 a.m. Stearns is spotted re-entering the complex with Madeline slumped over.
Now, at 8:19, why is he seen coming back to the complex with Madeline still in the car? That does not make sense. If he left out, like he said, at 7:15, that was plenty of time to get Madeline to school. So why is she still in the car at 8:19 when he's coming back to the house?
Over. 8:31 a.m. Stearns is spotted leaving the complex with Madeline still slumped over.
Now, something ain't right. Something's not right. At 8:31, Madeline is still in the car. She's still in the car. And now he's leaving the complex again. So he left the complex, came back to the complex, and left again. But all this time, Madeline is still in the car when this was plenty of time to have dropped Madeline off. Remember, Jenn Soto said that she was woken up by Stefan coming into her room to leash the dog. And she said that she heard noise in the kitchen. Like, and in her mind, it was Madeline getting ready. But she also said that she saw Madeline getting ready around 8 o'clock. Why would you tell the police on the day that your baby goes missing that you saw her getting ready at 8 o'clock if you didn't actually see her? Why would you tell them that? And then the next day, you had an interview with a different detective, and then you cleared up the story. You said, I didn't visually see her, but I thought it was her because I heard noise in the kitchen. I heard someone moving around in the kitchen, and she presumed it was Madeline. That is very different than saying you saw her. I don't understand how you get those two things confused. That's not making sense to me.
Over. 9 a.m., that's when mom, Jenn, claims she gets out of bed. At 9:40 a.m., Stearns is allegedly spotted in a parking garage transferring a body from his front seat to the trunk.
This man was riding around with Miss Madeline in the car.